Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Tyrone back with Tech Life. Article comes to you guys from Light Reading. I'll leave a link to it in the description so you guys could check it out. So in this video, I wanted to give credit where credit's due in regards to AT&T and T and the swap from Nokia to Ericsson. We got to give them credit because this has been a fairly smooth transition. I've been monitoring the situation and there haven't been many complaints at all. I was expecting to see people report that, hey, I'm in a market where they're ripping Nokia, they're going to Ericsson, and I'm seeing a lot of service interruptions. And that just hasn't happened. People haven't messaged me. I've been looking at Reddit, which is a public forum. People people just haven't posted much about it. Even if it's happened, we haven't seen it, right? For the most part, 99% of the time, it's improvements that are being shared. So that tells me this process, right? The risk and the reward has been, I mean, the risk was that you rip Nokia, you go to Ericsson, you're going to have service interruptions, several days of service interruptions. That was the risk. And then the reward was you're moving to Ericsson equipment, which performs a lot better. But in this case, the risk was minimal. I don't see people report or message me saying, hey, during this rip, I have service interruptions. My service doesn't work. Right? So AT&T figured it out. They must have done some extensive research and said, hey, if we do this and we do it quickly and we do it at mass scale, we can minimize the service interruptions from nearby sites. In some areas, we may have to put temporary towers, right? So they have figured it out. So I got to give credit where credit is due. Something else to note, right? Moving to the Ericsson equipment, it's just all around better performing. I think we all understood that very well when AT&T made the announcement that they were going all Ericsson. So that is resulting in better FWA performance, and it's allowing AT&T to sign up more customers. So AT&T's switch from Nokia to Ericsson radios is modernizing its wireless network and boosting the performance of AT&T's Internet Air FWA services, says John Stanky. Internet Air now serves more than 803,000 subs. Another thing to point out that I felt was important to note in this video, New Street Research estimates AT&T has enough capacity to support about 7 million FWA customers. That's really right in line with with original guidance from T-Mobile and Verizon. So they're not far off. I don't know if I don't think AT&T will go to the 12 million that T-Mobile is approaching now, and I'm sure Verizon will eventually get to the double digits or higher. I don't think AT&T will go into that because they're focused on fiber. But with this Ericsson conversion, it opened up a whole new avenue for AT&T that they didn't know exist prior. So that tells me that the Ericsson equipment is just that much better. The radios, the range, the reach, everything. So from set tower sites that are already in place that are being ripped today and moving to Ericsson, AT&T is probably able to cover more area from the same cell site that had already been built, right? They're able to cover more at the cell edge and give those same people and even more people better performance, even on the mobile side. Yes, FWA as well, but just thinking about mobile, they can probably carry more people, have better cell edge performance from that same cell site where previously they needed further densification. So this project might also lead to site avoidance. That's something else to think about. So people at the very beginning were questioning if this was a good move, right, or a good decision. I even question it because if you think about all the billions of dollars that are going into this, imagine how much more densification AT&T could have built with those billions of dollars. But now thinking about it, it's like, this move from Nokia to Ericsson is going to lead to a lot of site avoidance. And in those areas that they will have to add more sites and densification, they can now spend it and move that that money, that capex, more smartly, right? They don't have to just plaster billions of dollars building out densification. They can now say, okay, this site is now Ericsson. It's performing tremendously better, right? Looking at the tool and comparing RSRPs from prior to now, and they can say, hey, we don't need the CRAN small cell in this particular area anymore because the Ericsson site can now cover more. We can now move the CRAN to another area that really needs it, right? So that's where the site avoidance comes into play, and spending the capital dollars smartly, more smartly. So this is a win-win for AT&T across the board for everything. I got to give them credit where credit's due. It was a very smart move. It was from a financial perspective, very disciplined, right? It's still going to take some time. I mean, we're in 2025. They're going to have to continue building the rest of this year. They're going to be busy all of 2026 building out Nokia to Ericsson, and very likely still in 2027 they're going to be doing it, right? Because there's still DAS systems that are sitting on Nokia that need to move to Ericsson. There's still small cells that are sitting on Nokia equipment that need to move to Ericsson. ODAS, I mean, you name it, all of that has to be converted over to Ericsson. So AT&T is still going to be busy with lots of that conversion. Pretty much, I would assume, right, at smaller scale, probably through 2030, they're going to be busy building out in Nokia markets. But the majority of the, right, there's always a majority. They want to have that done by the end of 2026. But the small, tiny stuff like getting this DAS system in this hospital over the Ericsson, getting the small cells done, right? There's still going to be some sites that probably will need to be converted. And I think that will take pretty much to the end of the decade. So let me know your thoughts on this. Let me know if you agree credit is due where credit is due. AT&T has done a phenomenal job with minimal risk on this whole entire rip and replace. For those of you who remember, to close out the video briefly, Sprint Network Vision, who for those of you who remember that rip and replace, because that's what it was. That was a rip from all of the 3G and then move it on to, newer equipment, more modernized baseband units. That was horrendous. That cost so much service interruption for weeks that Sprint endured so much churn and people leaving during that time that I think that's what really killed the Sprint brand and network. It wasn't anything else. I think it was that rip and replace, and they just couldn't handle it as well as what AT&T is doing currently. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe if you're new. Follow my social media outlets. This is Tyrone with Tech Life. See y'all in the next one. Peace.